Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I think I'm going to put them here so I can give them to people as they read them. If that's okay? Fantastic. Okay. Where is Ari? The mystery of the world. Shall we go? Do you think if we just stare at him hard enough? Will that work for your movie? Oh, look at
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
Stuff for the future. Are you going? Are you always but when I'm walking around,
I think that's a message. When you're getting
wait, are we walking around before I read?
Yes. So before we'll bring your family up to the human tradition. Here. I'm going to talk through everything. There's nothing we really need to do. So let's take one more big breath together.
Great.
All right.
You're great.
Congratulations.
Are you gonna sit there?
Ari, are you gonna sit?
Come over here. You're going to be like, stop talking about peaches.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, a 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 la 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 la, a la 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 la, a la 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 la, ya la 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 la. La 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, wherever you are in the world. Good Shabbos. Welcome to Shir Tikva. Welcome to spring in Minneapolis all of a sudden. Thank you, Evan. The spring came in honor of you. My name is Rabbi Ariel. It's my joy to be able to welcome you here to Shir Tikva in South Minneapolis on Dakota land. It is such a joy to be gathering this morning to celebrate our Bar Mitzvah, Evan Tarasek, and to really be gathering all together, all of us, no matter where we are. Our minyan is diasporic. It is virtual as well as in person, but we do not take it for granted to be able to gather this many people in space. So let's just take a moment. First, let's wave to the folks at home. We have, hello. And now let's take a moment and just look around. We can beam love and greetings to each other. So just a few words about what we do together here in this space. In Jewish tradition, prayer is communal. We need a minyan. We need to be a group of people in order to be able to pray fully. And today we welcome Evan as a full member of our minyan. You count. Yay! On Shabbat, we take this time, outside of the hustle and bustle and stress of the week, to sing, to eat, to take deep breaths, to connect with family, to remember what matters. It's important, right? Just to press pause, just to come together. And we're grateful to you, Evan, and we're grateful to your family for bringing us together to remember that. So a few helpful ways to enter Shabbat. First of all, we have tools. We have a Siddur. Online, we have a digital Siddur. You'll have a program where you'll be able to follow along with all of our readings. If you carry with you a cell phone, if you're streaming on a computer and you have other tabs open, I'm going to invite you to turn your cell phone off, or at least turn it to silent. And if you have other tabs open, I'm going to invite you to close your tabs so you can be present here, paying attention to what is. Now, whether this is your 1000th Shabbat service or whether this is your very first, you're invited to participate fully. Whether you're fluent in Hebrew or you're not sure which direction the language flows in, you are welcome, please, to be using words, to be singing on syllables like la 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 or yaida dai, which is Yiddish for la la la. But mostly, I hope you're able to savor. I hope you're able to settle in, to relax, and just beam your love to Evan, who's been working so hard to get ready for this day and is ready to teach us and to lead us with strength and with kindness. So we're going to begin by singing Hinei Ma Tov, which is on page 10. The words mean how good it is, how sweet it is to be all together. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achayot gam yachad. I'm so glad to be able to invite Evan's grandparents, Rob and Linda, to come up and read an Apache blessing.
May the sun bring you new energy by day.
May the moon softly restore you by night.
May the rain wash away your worries.
May the breeze blow new strength into your being.
And may you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life.
We continue with Modeh Moda Ani on page 68. Number 1 in your digital Siddur. Moda Ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla rabba emunatecha modani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta b'nishmati b'chemla rabba emunatecha rabba emunatecha. I'm glad to be able to invite Evan's grandma, Lori, to come up and present him with his talit.
Evan, I am so proud to give you this prayer shawl, which we call a talit or talus in Hebrew. I'll never forget the day you picked it out in Etsy. I had to admit that it was the most beautiful one we saw. A talus represents the world, and when wearing it, you have your own private place to pray or meditate. The fringes on the four corners remind us to take ethical and spiritual responsibility for the world. Receiving a talus is the beginning of your growth and maturity, and it is my hope you will continue to learn and flourish as a Jewish man. May you discover the skills and wisdoms of living a good life. May you be a force of good for the world. The grace of Torah dances in your soul.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lehitatef batzitzi.
The other way around.
Lori, will you come back every Shabbat and talk about Talitot? It's so beautiful. Thank you. Yesher koach for your teaching. And Evan, you didn't realize that becoming Bar Mitzvah was also an agility training, right? So beautiful. Wear it in the best of health. Let's continue together with on page 74, Matovu. Matovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. We continue on page 78 with Elohai Neshama. Elohai Neshama shenatata bi tehorai. Elohai Neshama shenatata bi tehorai. Elohai Neshama shenatata bi tehorai. I'm glad to be able to invite Evan's cousin Naomi up to read The Voice by Shel Silverstein.
There is a voice inside of you that whispers all day long, I feel that this is right for me. I know that this is wrong. No teacher, preacher, parent, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside.
Amen. Let's turn together, page 100, Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 el bekodsho, hallelujah, birkiah uzor, hallelujah, bigvurotav, hallelujah, kirov gudlo, hallelujah, 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 b'teika shofar, hallelujah, b'nevel v'chinor, hallelujah, b'tofu machol, hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav, hallelujah, 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 b'tziltzilei shama, hallelujah, b'tziltzilei trua, kol anshama tehallel Yah, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol anshama tehallel Yah, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol anishama tehallel Yah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I invite you, no matter where you are, to rise in body and spirit as Evan calls us to prayer. Page 108, the Baruch, number 5 in your digital Siddur.
Yalla lie lie lie, 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 yalla lie lie lie. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lie lie, yalla lie 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 lie lie.
You may be seated. We turn together to page 110 as we bless light and dark, the creation of all. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שלום ובורא את הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. We turn together to page 114 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 116.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tiskeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem
Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn together to page 122 or number 9 in our digital Siddur for Micha Mocha. Ya lai lai la lai la 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 ya lai lai la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ay ya la la ya la 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 Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai Micha mocha neda b'kodesh nora tehilot osef eleh nora tehilot osef eleh שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך לשפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יא לי לי la 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 alai la 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 alai ya la 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 I la 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 ya la 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 la. So glad to be able to invite Evan's grandparents, Stan and Julie, to join us to read Forever Young by Minnesota's own Bob Dylan.
You can take your mask off.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true, and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young.
May you grow to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young.
May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young.
Amen. So I invite us to rise in body and spirit as Evan leads us in our personal prayer. So we'll begin together aloud on page 124. Then there will be some moments in quiet for you to use the words of the Siddur or the words of your heart to find a few honest words of prayer, and we'll join back together on page 142. But we begin together on page 124.
Adonai tzafatel tiftach ufi yagid hatiflachtecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 126.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot Hu mevi geula livnei v'neihem L'man shemo b'ahava Melech ozer u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol b'rachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem unato lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot, umidom elelach, melech memit, umechayeh, umatmiach Yeshua.
V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol.
Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, ka'ashem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, ka'katuv al yad neviyecha, v'kara ze el ze v'amar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tzivot, melo kol ha'aretz, kivodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir, Shimcha, B'chol ha'aretz, Baruch kevod Adonai, Mimkomo, Echad hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, V'hu Hashmienu, V'rachamav le'nei kol chai, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai yichzion, ledor vador, hallelujah, ledor vador.
Ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid God lecha, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid God lecha, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו, אמרו, Amen. You may be seated. It's my joy to invite Evan's uncle, Jeremy, to join us here to offer a reading in honor of Evan's birthday.
This is by Dr. Seuss. If we didn't have birthdays, you wouldn't be you. If you'd never been born, well then what would you do? If you'd never been born, well then what would you be? You might be a fish or a toad in a tree. You might be a doorknob or 3 baked potatoes. You might be a bag full of hard green tomatoes. Or worse than all that, what you might be was a wasn't. A wasn't has no fun at all, no he doesn't. A wasn't just isn't, it just isn't present. But you are you, and now isn't that pleasant? Happy birthday.
So beautiful. So we've arrived together at the Torah service, which is our chance to witness and celebrate Evan as a teacher of Torah, as a chanter, a laner of Torah. And we have a tradition here at Shir Tikva of passing Torah through the generations, which is a chance for family members to be able to just pass the wisdom, the experience, whatever they've absorbed from the generations before them into Torah, which then gets passed to you, Evan. So this is a moment of reception, both of our tradition and also of your family. So Mazal Tov. So I'm going to invite to join me here in front of the lectern, Grandma Lori, Sister Deborah or Aunt Deborah, Uncle Jed, Uncle Jeremy, Jason, Jessica, and Cousin Naomi, and Evan. And we'll form a line in order of generations. Just facing the community. I invite the community to rise, please. Ya la la la, ya la ya la la, ah la la la, ya la la la. Ki mitzion tetze Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, Uniromema Shemo Yachdav. We're going to take the Torah around the community so you'll have a chance to greet the family and also greet Torah. I invite you, just in COVID times, we will bow to Torah, shine virtual hugs as we move around this space. So I'm going to invite Evan's immediate family to join us on this move around the sanctuary. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Allah la 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 la, 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 Allah la 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 la, Allah la 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 la, Allah la 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 la, Allah la 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 la, Allah la 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 la, Allah la la. Allah la 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 la, Allah la 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 la, Allah ya la la ya la, Allah la 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 la, Allah la la ya la la, Allah la 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 la, Allah ya la la, Allah. You may be seated. And Evan, I'm going to invite you to take your Dvar Torah out. I'm going to make sure this microphone is tall enough for you. So I'm going to invite all of us in this space to take a moment and take a deep breath. And Evan, that includes you. We're about to hear Evan teach Torah on his Parsha. And I'm just going to say this out loud. I think generations and generations, as long as there's been Torah, generations of Bar Mitzvah students have been afraid of getting this Torah portion. You're about to hear why. And I just want to say beforehand, Evan, you've done an incredible job making meaning and finding really important messages. So please listen up to hear how it is that Evan has interpreted this Torah portion.
Hello, everyone. My Torah portion is called Mitzorah from the book of Leviticus. The part I'm chanting in Hebrew is the beginning of Mitzorah. Mitzorah means one who is diseased. My Torah portion is about a leper who has healed and no longer has leprosy. They have to be cleansed so that they can re-enter the community, including going back to the synagogue. To be cleansed, they have to go through a set of steps as a purification process. The steps are very weird. First, there is a priest whose role is to cleanse the human. Some of the steps of purification are that the priest gathers items including 2 live pure birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, which is dark red stuff, and hyssop, which is a purple plant that you can use as a medication. One of the birds has to be slaughtered. Then you dip the other live bird into the dead bird's blood, which is mixed with the other things the priest gathered. Then you sprinkle it 7 times on the human, and then you let the living bird go. And then the human has to wash their clothes, shave off all their hair, and bathe in water. Then they are pure. Even though I think this purification process is very weird, it can be related to things today. In preparing for my bar mitzvah, I had to think of a time where I had to heal. One of the times I had to heal was when I broke my wrist. I was 8 when it happened. I was playing with Nerf guns with my neighbors. Then I got my foot stuck in a hole on a bench on a ledge, and I fell down about 4 feet. I fell on my wrist, and that is how my wrist broke. And then I got up and ran around holding my arm. My neighbor's mom came out and helped me. Later, my mom drove me to the hospital, and I got put on a rollable bed and took x-rays. The x-rays showed that I broke my wrist in multiple places. Later, I got a brace for my wrist. My wrist took about 3 weeks to heal. Even though doctors today practice medicine a lot differently than the priest does in my Torah portion, there are similarities with the healing process. I thought of 2 similarities between the Torah cleansing process and when I broke my wrist. First, during the cleansing process, you are isolated from the community and can't do anything for 8 days plus the time you're sick beforehand. When you break a bone, you can't use the bone that you broke, so you can't do sports, write with a pencil, and you just can't move your wrist at all, and it takes a long time to build your muscles back up. So in both situations, you can't do a lot of things for a period of time. One more similarity is that if you're going through the cleansing process, you feel left out because you cannot be in the community, and when you break a bone, you feel left out from sports and things like that. In all, both of the reasons for doing the cleansing process and wearing a brace are the same reason. The reason is to get back to normal life. What I see in my Torah portion is first an illness, then a healing, and then a cleansing process that is not fun. The cleansing process is particularly not fun because you have to have a dead animal's blood sprinkled on you. For me, it was not fun to wear a brace because I could not do school as well. Even though it was hard, I did it anyway so I could get back to normal life. Sometimes we do hard things so that we can get to our end goal. My end goal is to get back to playing sports again. For the past 2 years, we have all been going through a hard process called COVID. In Mitzvah, the only way to get back into the community after having leprosy is to go through the cleansing process. We are all going through a process so that we can stop the spread of disease and be back together as a community. It has been a hard process because we have restrictions like wearing masks, and for a long while we had to do things online rather than in person. Even today we have to do stuff online instead of in person, which is hard, but hopefully COVID will soon end. Then we can hopefully get back to normal life. Shabbat Shalom.
So good. Yasher koach. So it's my honor to get to invite Evan's tutor, Rabbi Shosh Dvorsky, to join us on the bima. And so Evan will be reading 3 aliyot. We'll take this off. Evan will be reading 3 aliyot. And so I'll be calling groups of people. Don't worry, you know who you are already. There will be no surprises here. No pop quizzes. And so we'll have the chance to hear in Hebrew what Evan has just taught us in English. So for the first aliyah, it's my joy to be able to call Evan's great uncle and great aunt and new extended member of the family, Jim and Maida and Stuart, Yamdu, Yaakov Nachman ben Moshe v'Rachel, v'Malka bat Ruth v'Tzvi, v'Shlomo ben Elchanan bar, v'Shoshana l'aliyah rishona. Baruch Adonai Hamorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et tov. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Zot tihiyah Torah tamid Torah beyom tehorato v'huva el hakohen v'yatsa hakohen el michut hamachaneh v'ra'ah hakohen v'hineh nirpa nega hatzarat min hatzarua v'tziva hakohen v'lakach lamitaher shtei tziporim chayot tahorot ve'et erez ushni tolat ve'ezov.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen. Amen. And so as the blessers for Aliyah 1 come over to this side, and before I call the second Aliyah blessers up, we're going to offer prayers for healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. And so I invite you, if you're in person, when I pause, to share the names of people that you're praying for aloud. And if you're online, I invite you please to share the names of people that you're praying for in the comments so I can hold them with you. May all who are in need of healing receive what they need. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. Please share names now.
People of Ukraine.
הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להאכיל עמם ולרפאותם ולהחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר Amen. For the second Aliyah, we honor Evan's parents. Come on up. Jessica and Jason, יעמדו, נעמי בת אהובה וזה, וג'ייסון לעלייה השנייה. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. וציווה הכהן ושחט את הציפור האחת על כלי חרס על מים חיים. את הציפור החיה ייקח אותה ואת עץ הארץ ואת שני התולעת והזוב, וטבל אותם ואת הציפור החיה, בדם הציפור השחוטה על המים החיים, והיזה על המטהר מן הצרת 7 פעמים, וטיהרו ושילח את הציפור החיה על פני השדה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Yeshua koach. So our representatives of Aliyah 1 may sit down. And I'll invite, Jason, I'll invite you to stay up, and you can stand on either side of Evan. Oh, yeah. You can see. It's a lot of choreography. Mm-hmm. Evan, it's my joy to get to call you to Torah, to bless Torah for the very first time. And this is actually the moment. There could be many moments that we'd say, now you're Bar Mitzvah, but as you bless Torah for the first time as an individual, as a teacher, as a laner, and now as a blesser, you get to step fully into your community. So just take a moment and feel that, all the preparation. Good. I'm glad your parents are feeling this too. You did not get here alone. But just feel you're here. Okay? And so it's my joy to get to call you, and then you'll bless, and then you'll read. Yamod, Yamod, Lev ben Naomi v'Jason, l'Aliyah Bar Mitzvah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. V'chli bes hamitaher et begadav v'gilach et kol se'aro v'rachat b'mayim v'taher v'achar yavo el machaneh v'yashav michutz le'ohalo shiv'at yamim v'haya v'yom hashvi Yigalach et kol se'aro, et rosho, ve'et segano, ve'et gabot einav, ve'et kol se'aro, yigaleach, ve'chibes et begadav, ve'rachat, et bisaro, b'mayim v'taher, uvayom hashmini, Yikach shnei chavsim tamimim v'chavsa achat bat shenata tamima ushlosha esronim. So let mincha bilula v'shemen v'lo gechad shamen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. So we're going to close the Torah, we're going to cover Torah, and then I can hear from the rustling in the room that we know what time it is. So if you're at home, you're going to throw virtual candy, and if you're in the room, wow. There's a lot of excitement for this, Evan. Get ready. We're going to loft our candy gently and with love as we sing. Simin tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simin tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simin tova, mazel tova, simin tova. Yei lanu, yei lanu, yei lanu, ulechol Yisrael. Ari. Yei lanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yei lanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yei lanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yasher koach. That was a very athletic group of people. I'm very impressed. So if you are feeling young of heart and wanting to come harvest some Swedish fish from the ground, you're invited to come up now as we continue to sing. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la ya la ya. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la ya la. Ya la la la. Thank you. So everyone, invite you with that out of our systems. Having so solemnly blessed Evan with the ritual throwing of fish. It's my delight to be able to invite Jed and Deborah, Evan's uncle and aunt, up to lift the Torah. I invite you, please, to rise in body and spirit. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Yalai, yalai, lai, alai, alai, lai, alai, alai, lai, alalai, alalai, alai. Alai, alai, lai, alai, alai, lai, alalai, alalai, alai, alai, lai, alalai, alalai, alai, alai, alalai, ai, ai, lai, lai, ai, ai, lai, ai. Be seated. Evan is now going to bless and offer haftarah, words from the prophets. Here, Evan, I can help you with that. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hana'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah uf Moshe avdo Uv Yisrael amo uvinvi'ei ha'emet v'sadek. Hine anochi sholeach lachem et Elia hanavi lifnei Bo Yom Adonai Hagadol V'Hanora V'Heshiv Levavot Al Banim V'Lev Banim Al Avotam Pen Avo V'Hiketi Et Haaretz Cherem Hine anochi sholeach lachem et Elia hanavi lifnei bo yom Adonai hagadol v'hanora. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol ha'alamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el haneman ha'omer v'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol dvarav emet v'asedek all ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach barachlim otach yiprashim habefi kohai tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mika.
Yeah, that's right. Keep it.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
people throw in a little word like Baruch Baruch Shemo. They throw it in before the end of the blessing, and we didn't practice that. I should have warned you that sometimes people interrupt like that. But boy, you gracefully weathered the storm. You are awesome. I just have to say, I've been working with Evan for, a year? Mm-hmm. The growth in this kid has just been, and I don't mean just getting taller. I really couldn't tell that he was getting taller because we were on Zoom for so long. But I just want to talk about your Haftorah. I'm going to take this off for a second. Evan, when you were nervous about this day, I tried to make you not nervous by saying, this isn't your bar mitzvah. This is what? What's this day?
Just like...
This is Shabbat.
Shabbat.
It's Shabbat. Remember? Mm-hmm. And you happened to be helping lead us in Shabbat, but were you nervous anyway? Mm-hmm. Okay. But this is just Shabbat, and it comes every week, and now that you're an adult, you can help us all celebrate Shabbat. This is a special Shabbat, though, not just that it's your birthday, although we discussed that, and not just that it's your 13th birthday, right? And that all your friends are gathered here, but there's something else special about this Shabbat, and it has to do with what's coming next week. Do you remember?
Shabbat Hagadol.
Well, today is Shabbat Hagadol. Great.
Passover.
Passover is coming, exactly. He got it right, though. Today is what we call Shabbat Hagadol, the Great Shabbat. And he has that word in the last verse of the Haftarah that he just chanted, the great and awesome day. Today is the Great Shabbat because Passover is coming. Now, there's people here who don't know much about Passover. What do you want to tell some people, like, basic about Passover?
It's about Jewish people getting freed
from
slavery in Egypt.
Bravo. From slavery to freedom. That's the big transition. And tell people here what Jews will be eating during that week.
Matzah.
Yeah, I was going to bring a box of that. Do you want to tell people what matzah looks like?
It's like very thin bread.
Yeah. It didn't rise.
Yeah.
And we talked about why it didn't rise. Remember the story?
Because since they had to leave so quick from Egypt, they had to like carry the bread on their backs, and it got baked, but not enough for the bread to rise.
Exactly. That's the story. It's told in Exodus, and that's why we eat the flat bread. It's to remember having to leave somewhere quickly. Boy, having to, I want to say, evacuate. Does that remind you of anything in current events?
I mean, they evacuated from Ukraine.
Yeah, and in a hurry, and people grabbing stuff. And I mean, the sad thing is that we talk about that it happened once, that we were liberated from slavery, and we gathered up our stuff, and we evacuated Egypt. And in fact, Pharaoh's army chased us. And so we celebrate Passover. It's really, yay. But we also acknowledge, you know what? It happens again and again. It wasn't a once-and-done thing. Other people have to flee and evacuate. And that's why in your Haftorah you had this fellow, what was his name?
Elijah?
Yeah. In Jewish tradition, we have this fellow Elijah who was a prophet. And we have come to believe that he is going to come ultimately and then heal our world. And you talked about some of the things. Can you remember some of the things you talked about that really need healing?
The world.
Totally.
And police brutality.
Police brutality we talked about.
I think I just said those.
You said also the planet.
Yeah, that's what I said first.
Oh, you did say that? Oh, the world, I see. The world meaning the planet. Because you want to just say one more word about that?
Because of global warming.
Right.
And climate. Well, it's the same.
Climate, global warming, exactly. So there's still healing that needs to come about. And that's why at the end of our Seder, we invite Elijah the prophet to come, because we acknowledge, yes, let's celebrate, but also let's not turn our eyes away from what healing needs to still happen. It's been awesome studying with you, and I am so proud, and I wish you a mazel tov and many, many more birthdays to come until 120, as we say. Okay.
So beautiful.
Wow, wow. So I invite us, first of all, just thank you so much, Rabbi Shosh. And thank you so much, Evan, for that really, really wonderful conversation. I'm going to invite us to rise in body and spirit as we bring the Torah back to the Ark. Do you want to open the Ark, though? Etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha me'oshar derachea darchei noam v'chol netivotea shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem. You may be seated. And now, Evan, you have a chance to offer your thank yous.
Thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. First, I want to thank my tutors, Rabbi Shosh and Rabbi Ariel. Thank you, Rabbi Shosh, for helping me with basically everything I needed to read and chant in Hebrew. Thank you, Rabbi Ariel, for helping me with my Devar Torah and the thank yous I'm giving right now. Now, I want to thank my mom for just being my mom and helping with everything I learned and did for my Bar Mitzvah. Now, I want to thank my dad for just being my dad, and one thing that he has helped me with a lot is helping me get better at sports and being my coach. Now, I want to thank my granny for being a great grandma and helping me with preparing for my Bar Mitzvah by being supportive and helping me with my Hebrew. Now, I want to thank everyone that came out of town to be with me today. Last, I want to thank my brother Ari for being such a great brother. Thanks to everyone for coming.
Now I'm glad to invite Evan's parents to join me on the bima to offer their words of blessing.
I've been told I can't cry. We'll see about that. Happy birthday, Evan.
Here, I'm gonna stand.
You were born a daredevil. You are bold, confident, and adventurous. When you were just a baby, I took you sledding at the golf course near our house. You probably don't remember this. The hill was very small, but so were you. You were probably too young to be sledding. But I pushed you down the hill, and you started gaining speed. You got going a little fast, and I thought, uh-oh, he's not going to like this. But then the sled came to the stop at the bottom of the hill. I could barely see you. Around this time, you were learning sign language in daycare. And as you came to a stop on the sled, you were just about out of my sight, but I could see you laying on your back, and your little hands were motioning wildly, earnestly. More. You're a great athlete. You're freakishly fast. You were faster than your mom by the time you were 3 years old. You competed in your first adult triathlon with me last summer, and you beat most of the adults. I recently timed you running the 40-yard dash, and the first time I thought I made a mistake, so I asked you to do it again. But the second time you were even faster. So you're signed up for track this spring, and I'm pretty excited to see what you can do. You started playing soccer as a little guy, and you've become a pretty good player. You were recently selected to your league's all-star roster, and you're one of the youngest kids on the team. You're also an excellent swimmer. As a member of the Southdale Sharks, you qualified for regional championships in Iowa. Unfortunately, COVID forced the cancellation of that event, but I have no doubt that you would have rocked it. Recently, you quit the swim team, and I immediately signed you up for basketball. Although you've only been playing competitive basketball for a few months, you quickly became one of the best players on the team, and it's now your favorite sport. All that athletic stuff is really fun. I love watching you and your brother play sports. But, as I often tell you and Ari, you have a greater likelihood of getting hit in the head with a meteor than being a professional athlete. So the good news is, all those lessons you've learned from sports are going to translate very well for your life as an adult. Kindness, fairness, teamwork, dedication, those are the qualities that you can apply as an adult. Despite all of your athletic success, what makes me most proud of you is when your friends' parents or your coaches tell me how kind and polite you are. Those are the qualities that I care about much more than how fast you are. We have been through a lot over these last few years. COVID forced you to do remote learning through much of 2020 and 2021. As non-ideal as that was, I got a chance to sit near you in our living room as I worked and you were in class, and I got a first-hand peek at what a thoughtful, engaged, and insightful student you are. Your teachers never shied away from tough subjects. You got a crash course in race relations, white privilege, and police brutality as our city was rocked by the murder of George Floyd. Shir Tikva has taught you what it means to be Jewish, but in addition to your parents and your teachers, Shir Tikva has also taught you what it means to be inclusive, welcoming, and how to celebrate diversity. You were born a daredevil. You are bold, confident, and adventurous. You're also kind, thoughtful, and smart. Use your powers for good. Life is fun. Go for it. And whatever you do, keep asking for more, more, more. We didn't allow each other to hear the other speeches, so I'm kind of looking forward to this.
Evan, my tribute today has 3 parts. Something I want you to know, something I want you to remember, and something I want you to recognize if you haven't already. First, what I want you to know. I want you to know that I am immensely proud of you. I am proud of you for how hard you have worked to prepare for today, for your mastery of your Torah Aliyot and your Haftorah, and for powering through with practicing for today, even when you didn't want to. And so here we are. It's April 9th, 2022, your 13th birthday. Happy birthday, and happy Bar Mitzvah Day. On this milestone of a day, the first day you are considered an adult in the Jewish community, it would be natural for me to talk about my hopes and dreams for how you will design your life going forward. But I decided I would rather focus on the present moment. I want you to know that I'm very proud of you, for who you are as a person and how you show up in this world. As I look at you right now, I see a talented, smart, graceful, and honorable person. I see an athlete who is fast on his feet and has both natural and learned skill. I see a son, grandson, brother, nephew, and cousin whose family adores you. Evan, I started writing this speech for you 10 years ago when you first got that Justin Roberts CD that you have listened to almost every night in bed for the past 10 years. In the song called Nothing on You, Justin Roberts sings about the incredible sound the rain makes when it pours down the gutters and the front door, how the rain makes a perfect sounding symphony as it strikes the sidewalk. But, as the singer says, those sounds are nothing on you. How storms could fade away and the skies could all turn blue, but they wouldn't have nothing on you. How a melody so pure and true didn't have nothing on you. Well, that's how I feel about you, Ev. If anyone asked me, I'd tell them the warmth of sunlight, a red-orange sunset, a double rainbow in the sky, those things are nothing on you. Know that that is how I feel about you. Next, what I want you to remember. Your dad and I named you Evan Lev. Your Hebrew name is Lev, which means heart. So Lev, when you face a challenge, get bogged down in the chaos of life, or feel unsure of yourself, remember your name. You always have the power to pause and connect with your heart. Your heart is wise. It will lead you in the right direction. Finally, what I want you to realize, if you haven't already, there's a scene in the movie Soul, which I know I watched with Ari and not you, that teaches a lesson about realization that I want you to know. In Soul, the main character, Joe Gardner, is a jazz pianist who has a dream of joining a successful jazz band. One night, he gets the opportunity to play with a famous jazz quartet, and they put on an amazing show. After the show, Joe steps outside with the leader of the band, and he gets a sad look on his face. The band leader asks him what's wrong, and Joe explains that he'd been waiting for this day his entire life, and he thought it would feel different. The leader of the band gives him a knowing nod and says, I heard this story about a fish. He swims up to an older fish and says, I'm trying to find this thing they call the ocean. The ocean, said the older fish. Well, that's what you're in right now. This, said the younger fish, this is water. What I want is the ocean. Now, that story is pretty profound and may be hard to understand. And there are probably many different interpretations of it. But I understand it to mean that this is life. All of this, right here, right now, this is it. Things don't always look like you imagine they would. There are twists and turns along the way. There are also infinite possibilities. But if you focus too much on the past or the future, it's hard to see the miracle of right now. Evan, I want you to recognize that this isn't just water. You're in the ocean. I love you, Evan. Mazel tov.
Thank you for bringing your family's whole heart into this. So beautiful. So Evan, it's the custom at Shir Tikva for Bar Mitzvah students to ask the rabbi a question that I get to answer from the bima. And you asked me not a simple one. You asked me, why do we pray? Now, in classic Jewish fashion, there is not a single answer to this question. There are lots of ways to approach this question, and none of them will hold all of the answer inside of them. So Jews pray now using liturgy, a set of prayers, many of which were composed by the sages of the Second Temple period, so all the way back in 516 BCE to 70 CE, a long time ago. The language of the prayers uses biblical language, but prayer actually isn't mentioned in Torah. Instead, Jews were told to bring offerings to the temple as a way of practicing their religion, as a way of connecting to God. But once the temple was destroyed in 70 CE, prayer became the central way that Jews practiced. The word for prayer in Hebrew is tefillah, which comes from the root pei lamed lamed, to judge. To pray, then, means to judge oneself, or to work to transform ourselves. This definition of prayer focuses our attention on the importance of self-reflection and the recognition that humans have the power to make change and to make choices about how we live, how we behave, and how we treat other people. Prayer gives us the chance to pause, to reflect, and set intentions about who we want to be and how we want to live. But that's not the only way to understand prayer. Mystics believed that our prayers affect the mystical forces of the universe and repair the fabric of creation. What does that mean? The world relies on the power of our prayer and the presence of all of the prayers to stay together. In this way of understanding it, prayers are like divine food, nourishing and inspiring the universe. Every word of prayer, even every letter of every word has meaning and has impact. And it's our job to show up and pour our whole hearts into the prayer. So the grandma of prayer, the very first person in Tanakh to pray, was Hannah, who we read about on Rosh Hashanah. And Hannah wanted a child, and she brought an offering to the temple, goes the story. And while she was there, she started to pray. The text reads, V'hi marat nafesh, v'hit palel al Adonai, uvacho tivke. In her wretchedness, in her sorrow of spirit, she prayed to God, weeping the whole time. So we learn from reading about Hannah that prayer can be a container for the fullness of our experience. We get to pour our joy and our sadness, our longing and our hope into our prayer. Hannah wasn't using a siddur. She didn't need a book. She lifted up her honest words. Prayer is telling the truth about how we're doing. It lets us hold nothing back. So we use the liturgy, the words that we've inherited, because sometimes it can be hard to know what to say. The words and our melodies can help us get unstuck, to help us move to a place of praying with our whole selves. Our tradition teaches us to pray 3 times a day and 4 times on Shabbat. Jews who live in strict observance of Jewish law make 3 or 4 times a day to say sacred words, to talk to God, and to reflect. Can you imagine what it would feel like if you took 3 or 4 moments each day to really reflect, to step away from the flow of life and reach towards the sacred? The world we live in moves really fast. It's hard to find the time to step into prayer. And Evan, my hope for you as you move into this next chapter of your life is that you make the time to find your own truth, that you carve out space and time to practice using yourself and what you have to offer, trusting yourself and what you have to offer. That space and time might be prayer. It could look like meditation or basketball or snowboarding. It could look like music. It could look like a quiet walk in the woods. But I pray that you claim that space just to be honest and vulnerable and brave. Mazal tov. So I'm going to invite you up to the bima with your parents as a final blessing, and I'm going to invite the whole community, no matter where you are, to rise in body and spirit as we open the ark.
You may be seated. I'm going to invite Evan's classmates, Theo and Isaiah, to join me up on the bima to offer words of congratulations on behalf of Evan's class, many of whom are here. And this is for Shir Tikva in 2 years. We have not gotten to have such a robust presence of our Shir Tikva Bar Mitzvah class. So welcome to you all. It's wonderful to have you here.
Hello. Hi. Hello. When I had my bar mitzvah, Evan was like, "I'm totally gonna fail this," but you definitely did it. You did amazing. Thanks. I want to say, first of all, you did a good job, like a really good job. You put in a lot of hard work. And I remember, like at school, we'd talk about doing tutoring afterwards, and we'd talk about it at swimming or whenever we were playing video games. And you did a really good job. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. So good to see you. I'm going to invite Ari to come join us on the bima and offer a blessing on new moments, the Shehechianu, which is found on page 344.
I know. 300.
Here you go, Ari.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Thanks, Ari. I invite you to rise in body and spirit for Aleinu, page 284. V'hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim v'hashevota el levavecha Ki Adonai hu Elohim v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad. You may be seated. We take this time to remember, to offer Kadisha Tom, Mourner's Kaddish. And at this time, we name specifically Gabriel Lilienthal, Evan's cousin, William Savrin, Evan's grandfather, and Cal Appleby, Evan's grandfather, and Wayne and Nisi Wilson, Evan's great-grandparents. We're in the Shloshim, the first 30 days since the deaths of Joyce Abel, Brian Berkowitz, Francis Jaffe, and Allison Owens. And as a community, we remember Mike Alter, Marvin Antonowski, Jean Barnett Schultz, Joshua Beninoff, Elaine Billingkoff, Tirza Caspi, Doris Goff, Matthew Kessler, Doris Levine, Shirley Lieberman, Rose Makoff, Annette Newman, Ethel Platt, Jean Rain, Sophie Riedel, Aaron Rosenthal, Michael Sachs, Barbara Siegel, Lois Soderberg-Boyce, and Shirley Zimmerman. And I invite you, if there are other people that you're remembering today whose names you want to say aloud, to do so at this time. I invite the community please to rise. Kadisha Tom. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to all those who mourn. And let us say together, amen. You may be seated. There you are. Hi, it's my joy to invite Barry Epstein to come and offer words of congratulations on behalf of the community.
Shabbat Shalom. Evan, before I say a few words to you, I just want to tell you how joyful I feel just seeing all of you here. I mean, it's been such a long time, and to me, it's such a miracle to have everybody here. And the Shir Tikva, I mean, the wonderful kids who are your friends are all here just to help celebrate with you. So it's just so wonderful. So just wanted to say that. So I'm here today for you, Evan, on behalf of Shir Tikva, to thank you so much for your beautiful chanting and your incredible words connecting healing with what we're going through right now with COVID. And we are in a period of healing. So it's just wonderful. So thank you so much for those words. And I have gifts for you, and as you know, I have a challenge, okay? A doubleheader, okay? And I've had Evan for, I don't even know how many years I've had you. I've had you an awful lot of years. And the thing I remember about you, two things. Your joy. I mean, I can just see you running around in class and being so happy, and so, it was just infectious. It's absolutely infectious. And so my challenge for you is to continue coming here and being joyful, because your joyfulness adds so much to our congregation. And just to see you doing that, even when you're my age, I hope when you're my age you'll be running around and being so joyful. So that's one challenge for you. The second challenge is, and I know it was mentioned by Rabbi Shosh and you, is your concern about the environment. And we've had an activity in our class about finding ways that we can actually change, just little tiny ways we can change our environment and make it better, tikkun olam. And your way always struck me, because you picked turning off a nightlight. And to me, it seems like a very small thing, right? And yet it's those small things, when you start adding them up, that really changes things. And so my challenge to you is that you continue finding little bitty things to change that will really help this world. So to remind you, and I don't have it, I'm sorry, but you'll be getting it soon. You'll have a name tag, and wear that, and that'll remind you to show your joyfulness and change little things at home about the environment. And then you get a couple other things. Number one, after you're done with all your sports, you're going to need some place to go swimming, right? Cool off. So you're going to be getting a year subscription to JCC. Great pool, great pools. And 2 partial scholarships to go to Israel. And you will just so love Israel. So, congratulations.
Oh, so Mazal Tov to you all, to this beautiful community gathered near and far. Mazal Tov to you, Evan, on reaching this moment. May there be so many chances to learn and to teach in your future. Just as a few notes of housekeeping as we transition to the end of our service. As you're leaving, please bring your siddur, your prayer book with you. You feel free to keep the program if you would like a memento from this morning, but you may just bring your siddur back to the back table where the wonderful Harry Adler is sitting. You're welcome to stay in this space as you like, but also it's a beautiful day, so feel free to mingle outside as well. And just enjoy this day. Thank you so much, and Mazal Tov to your family. I'm going to invite your immediate family up as we bless Kiddush and Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. You got it? Ready? Can you take off dramatically? Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Evan, do you want to grab a bite? All right, we'll close in song. We're going to close with the same nigun that we sang as we opened. And hopefully we can feel, as we sing, a little bit more loose, a little bit more joyous, so we can just check in. How did I feel in the beginning of this service? And how am I doing now as we sing Evan into the rest of his day? And then we're going to close with a final nigun, a traditional happy birthday nigun. That's right. So first of all, wordless nigun into happy birthday. Let's see how we do this mashup. Ya la 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 la, a la 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 la, a 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 la 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 la. Let's all rise. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Evan. Happy birthday to you. Mazel tov. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Congratulations. Can I give you a little hug? Happy birthday. Congratulations.
Everyone, is this on? One second. Oh, I think it's all off. Yeah.
What should you bring to my
Okay, I gotta check in with my crew. You guys go do your thing. I'll see what we're doing. Okay.
Sorry. Didn't mean to move you.
What's this? At Tavern on France? Okay. Yeah.
The second table.
Okay. Okay. Hey.
boss will talk. So do you like our new hat?
Yeah.